Hey, Kayla.
Hello, Ross. Glad to be here.
What's going on? How are you?
I'm good. I'm as
Are you
good as can
currently
be
tweeting
expected.
now? Are you currently drafting a tweet as we speak?
No, but I will be
Oh.
back on Twitter live full time. I'm always there as soon as this recording is over.
To talk about what a shitty experience this recording started out as, because it was meant to be, guys, pulling back the curtain. I had this giant video thing I've been spending weeks on, and it just completely turned out to be a steaming pile and could not get it together. So I said, whatever, we'll do it live, we'll do it audio. So that's why we're here. So you're going to tweet all about the failures
That's right.
of Ross when it comes to live video, which is totally fine. I accept it.
It's a good lesson for listeners. Sometimes you just have to accept the technical failures. So that's the first lesson of the podcast today.
This new segment, this Meet a Tweeter segment, I thought it would be interesting because, as I said, the time I spend on Twitter, I really enjoy. And I'm there a lot. Like, I'm maybe a Twitter lurker more so than a participant.
You
like,
gotta jump in.
Well, it's one of, like, when I go through my order of operations of, like, okay, I'm going to consume stuff on social, I usually go there and go to the search tab, right, and look through trends and look at all that stuff. Like, I spend a lot of time in there just looking at, okay, news, sports, the For You, right?
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time in there. And then I usually just kind of dip out. But I wanted to bring you on because when it does come time for me to spend time in my timeline, right, you're always there.
Yeah.
Your stuff is always there.
Yes, you have to kind of have a constant presence on Twitter, I'm finding. And I think the same is true on Instagram or TikTok or a lot of other platforms. Twitter was the one for me because it's word-based instead of image-based, but I am there all of the time. And I think that's how you kind of get a handle on the language around Twitter, too. There's a certain kind of cadence to conversations, and if you're out of it, you're out of it. If you're in it, you're in it. I think it's just kind of, you have to commit a little bit.
Here's what I also love. You somehow, I'm going to say master. I'm going to give you total props.
Nice.
Like, have mastered this, like, it's still a stream of consciousness, but it's not like, it's still of value. Like, I pulled a tweet. I want to say from the last couple weeks of yours. Throw out your handle, Kayla, also, just so people who are listening, they can follow you.
Yes, it's at Kayla Naab, so it's KaylaNaab.
If this were a video, I made a whole graphic for it. Okay, anyways, okay. And the tweet was, what if you could subscribe to a high-value DM every couple weeks from a brand you like instead of an email?
Yeah.
I loved that. And that spurred on some conversation too. A lot of people commented on that.
There were a lot of feelings, a lot of thoughts on both sides of the, I don't want brands coming in my DMs and spamming me, to, I'd love to clear out my inbox and have, more of a social conversation. So mixed reviews. And, that's actually kind of a thing I'm learning on Twitter is I need to be more brazen with my what ifs and my opinions. I'm finding a lot of people are ready with the opinions on Twitter, so that definitely works there.
Well, isn't that kind of, I think, to its strength, and also I think the biggest challenge is Twitter is by far, when used properly, I feel like the most designed to be conversational.
Yes.
And they never strayed from that, much to the chagrin of some of the users that still ask for basic or, tools like delete tweets and edit tweets. It's like, and Twitter just holds off forever. And it's like one of those things that, like, every town hall meeting or something they have is going to come up and like, yeah, we're looking into it, or they all laugh. They all like the new guy brings it up and they all like look around and laugh at, like,
it's an inside joke.
He's new here. You're never going to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about Twitter?
That's a good question. I think for me, it's the immediacy of everything. Twitter really does break news And that doesn't have to be big worldly news. Maybe it's pop culture, maybe it's sports. It seems like everyone is on Twitter when things are happening. And so I like that
It's
immediacy a lot.
so true.
Yeah.
That is so true. It's like a forgotten, it's like the forgotten thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like the forgotten platform. But then when something goes down, whew,
Yep.
that's where it's happening. It's
Yeah,
so
and I
true.
like that. I like
too.
that about Twitter because I feel like for somebody then creating content, that stream of consciousness, that like half filter, half unfiltered kind of content that I like, it's easy to find there. You know, everything else is very high polish, very, you know, pre-production, right? Even TikToks now are this like multi-level editing experience, and I don't have the stamina, to be honest with you, and B, I don't want to consume fake shit all day, to be honest with you. I just don't.
You know, on that note, I guess flipping that, what's your least favorite thing about Twitter?
The politics, the toxicity, you know, the places where people are getting in arguments that aren't about dumb stuff anymore. You know, really serious arguments that I think are fanned in the flames of, you know, the way that media is consumed anyway. But Twitter seems to be particularly toxic.
Yeah, I think it's dark spaces can be
Yeah.
particularly dark. But I will say, and this is probably a conversation for another day, you know, Twitter, like many of the platforms, are doing their efforts to do a cleanup of that, and it sometimes feels like a scorched earth policy.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, they're doing something, whether or not the something is the correct path or the best path, I don't know, but they are
Yeah.
doing something.
I
Right.
see them trying to at least combat misinformation and some of those things
Yes.
that make me feel like it's a safer platform to spend time on. You know, but it's still a challenge. You know, when you're sharing space with other humans, it's always kind of a Wild West. You never know what you're going to get. You never know what you'll encounter. So one of the things I would recommend to you, and I think would have you engaging with your feed more and less with just the search page, is to curate what you're following almost constantly. So I do actually go in and cull who I follow probably a couple of times a month. That sounds harsh. You know, usually I don't
No, it
remove
feels
anybody with the
good
bots.
when you do it. It's been a long
Yeah.
time since I did it, and I'm not going to lie. Like, it feels really good.
Yeah.
It used to be those things, too. I did it, and I should probably do it. I'm overdue to do it with my Facebook page, too. But
Totally.
weirdly enough, I kind of just like, you know, even though the group component for marketing clarity, my new coaching program is in Facebook groups, it's kind of just because Facebook groups is doing groups the best right now.
Totally, by far.
You know, so it's kind of like the other alternatives, but as much as people bemoan Facebook groups is where they're pushing all the chips in, and
Yeah.
honestly, it is kind of the best framework. I'm not going to say it's the best platform. It's just the best setup and framework
Yes.
for it.
It is,
So-
and having all those profiles already built in does help people to acquire. And, you know, I think the reason, and, you know, this will get off on a tangent, but the reason the Facebook groups works better than the Facebook feed is because you're signing up for it. I think most
Yeah.
people who, you know, just engage with their Facebook or Twitter feed, it's just everybody I randomly ran into in the last 5 years. That's too much.
I know.
No focus.
And it does feel good when you do go in and clean it out. I'm not gonna lie, and it's amazing oftentimes how much your feed gets transformed.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Yeah.